Hello, hey everybody, it's Ken, my menopause trainer, female fat loss coach, here today with a new topic. And today's topic is about stress belly and why it can be very challenging for women, especially women in midlife, to burn fat off the belly. And before I get started, before I start getting any haterade poured on me, I want to make sure that I'm doing this talk for the right purpose. And the right purpose really is to help us, yes, look and feel better by achieving some measure of belly fat, shedding shrinkage, getting rid of the belly fat to some point, but also recognizing that belly fat has its importance, especially for women. There's a reason why it's harder for women and they have more belly fat, typically speaking, than men do. And that's because women are able to give birth to children and have this wonderful ability to participate in the creation of new life, and men do not. So that's the way that God made us, and that's the way it is. So it is harder to keep belly fat off, keep it from growing and getting bigger over time for women, and that's due to the hormonal makeup of a woman versus a man. So having said that, if there's too much belly fat that clings on to us or that gets piled on over time, then we're facing problems in the form of disease as we get older. And that could ruin our quality of life no matter how long we end up living. And who wants to live if you don't get to enjoy the things that you love, right? I think the women I've trained over the years have all wanted to live high quality of life, an active lifestyle beyond their 50s and their 60s. If they're blessed with that life, then why not, right? You got to make the most of the time that you have. So that's really the perspective that I take on it. But yes, I totally understand that if you don't have as much belly fat or you have a toned tummy, then you're going to feel more confident and you're going to be more willing to wear the clothes you want to wear and just enjoy the outfits that you want to show off. So why not, right? That's a part of being fit and you should own it. So all that being said, we're going to move on now to the topic at hand. One way to help balance female hormones. And we've got to understand some of the hormones behind it, namely estrogen. A few days ago, I made a post about what the equation for belly fat is. And if you haven't had a chance to look at it, just scroll on down my Facebook profile and you'll find it. It should be probably the next post there as of the posting of this video. And if you're watching this video on some other format, some other social media, I'm going to post the equation in the description or comments. So the equation goes something like this. In parentheses, you're going to go back to math class, back to grade school. I was a math major, so I got this. In parentheses, you've got dietary fat, in other words, the fat that comes from the food you eat, dietary fat plus sugar or starch, which all food that contains carbohydrates turns into a form of sugar in our bodies. So really sugar, even if it's not added. Dietary fat plus sugar or starch, close parentheses, times, multiplication, that's the key, stress equals belly fat. So once again, in parentheses, you have fat plus sugar, close parentheses, times stress equals belly fat. And this is a great equation developed by Dr. Jade Teta. If you don't know him, feel free to follow him. He's an amazing guy, and I attribute a lot of what I know and what I believe thanks in part to him. This equation lets us know that if you base it off the mathematical perspective, that stress is the biggest difference maker as far as how you eat, what you eat, if it's going to be stored as belly fat, or if it's going to be stored somewhere else, or if it's going to be utilized for energy. That's what it basically boils down to. Stress is what makes the belly grow, or what can help us shrink the belly down. So when we talk about stress, we talk about things that are going to promote stress, and we're talking about negative stress that affects us mentally and physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And we talk about positive forms of stress, which you would normally think of as being restorative movement and exercise, meditation, prayer, things that are going to help you unwind and relax. The stress helps us determine what goes on with the calories that we eat and whether the movement or the exercise that we do is going to be more beneficial to us and allow us to recover so that we can get stronger, move better, feel better, or if the stress is going to prevent us from recovering as well. And that leads to breakdown. So one way to help balance female hormones, especially if you're going into your 50s or you're going through menopause and you're entering your 60s, is to work on balancing your stress levels in such a way that you have the energy you need to enjoy the life that you want to lead. So here's one way to do that. If you are not currently exercising, in other words, if all you do is go on walks and you feel like you could do more, then the next step would be to focus on incorporating some level of exercising in your life. And if you are over 50, I highly recommend you invest in a training program that involves how to use weights so that you can strengthen your body, protect your joints, and help develop longevity that's going to bolster your quality of life. Hopefully that makes sense. If you are somebody that already exercises in an intense way or with weights, then you want to check to see if you're doing enough from the perspective of lowering stress levels by incorporating more movement or restorative exercise into your routine. So that may involve doing restorative forms of yoga, Tai Chi, going on leisurely walks, and simply diving into the pool and just playing in the water. Not necessarily swimming laps, not necessarily challenging yourself to see how your swim times are, but rather just moving around in the water before summer's over, because if you go outside here, we're in the Northern Virginia area, it's a beautiful fall day, even though it's not fall. So if you're already exercising, how much movement are you getting outside of your workouts? There have been people I've trained over the years that will train 2 or 3 times a week. They'll be very good about exercising, but when it comes to their movement outside of those workouts, they're on the couch and they're not doing a whole lot of movement, or they're sitting at a desk at work. And so when that happens, you have to go back and focus on your movement, because that's going to help complement the workouts that you're already doing. And there's many examples of people who they'll exercise, but outside of that, they're just chilling. They're sitting down on their butt. And so they're not getting enough movement in, and that makes it so much harder to address belly fat and to lose weight. So balance is key, guys. That is the ultimate concept, is achieving balance. It's easier said than done, but you can start by taking a little bit of inventory in what you're currently doing and then deciding, do I need to add exercise that's appropriate to where I'm at now? Or do I already exercise and do I need to focus more on healing, recovery, and movement, restorative types of movement that are going to help balance out what I'm already doing? Of course, if you're already training for things like a race or a major hike, some kind of endurance event, then you are probably already well versed in how important it is to recover. And if you're not sure, you can take a look and just give feedback to yourself. Do you have energy to the point where most days you feel like you could invest in a workout? Do you feel good at the end of the day, or do you feel totally wiped out? If you feel wiped out and tired every day, then adding exercise to your life, probably not a good idea, and you probably don't want to. That's where you want to focus on recovery, restorative movement that's going to help you move your body in different ways in order to help you relax. And that's the first thing that I think that we ought to do, because it's easy to say, well, I need to change my diet, I need to add more exercise, but perhaps you just need to reflect, take a moment, take some introspection, and figure out where you are right now so that you can take the best first step from here moving forward. Okay? I'm planning on making a couple of these videos talking about how to balance hormones, but I wanted to make this one first because I am obviously really big on exercise, but you've got to do the right type of exercise and the right type of movement to help you get going, especially if shedding belly fat is one of your goals. And I think for most of the women I've spoken to over the past 12 years, belly fat does play into their goals, very much so. Okay? Last thing I'll say is that nutrition is going to affect your stress levels as well, and that'll be the topic of the next video as far as belly fat goes. How can we improve aspects of our nutrition, what we eat, in order to coax belly fat to shrink? Because it definitely plays a role, and we don't want to starve ourselves, and by the same token, we don't just want to eat whatever is in front of us or whatever we crave. We want to make sure that we're achieving that balance. So if you keep balance in perspective, then you're always going to find ways to take that next step. And it may change day to day. You might feel like today, normally I would work out with, let's say you love taking a Zumba class. You would do a Zumba class. But if you're feeling down, nobody says you have to show up to that class. If you absolutely feel down, maybe it's better if you invest a nice walk in nature, a nice long walk, focusing on getting your 10,000 steps. You know, that stuff seems cliche, but it's easily overlooked in favor of more extreme things when we've got to get our basics down in order to maintain that level of balance. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have any questions, please share them in the comments. Remember, this is a judgment-free zone. And if you have any questions about what I do in my 12-week program that helps balance food, faith, and fitness, then I'm going to put a link down to our My Menopause Trainer group, where you actually find another video that I did this morning that talks a little bit more about the connection between stress belly and exercise in particular. And you'll get to interact with other women who are also on a mission to feel as healthy and as strong as possible leading up to menopause, or women who have gone through menopause and are looking to now reverse that weight gain. So I'll put that link in the comments. I'm Ken Diaz. I hope you have a blessed Thursday, and I look forward to chatting with you again soon. Have an awesome day.